don't even know what to do. No Premier League. No championship. No League One. Not the League One in France. Obviously, there's League One. Everything's postponed. We'll find something to bet, though, won't we? Welcome our sponsor, Caesar Sportsbook. Free bet insurance for up to $1,250. First-time users, download the app today. Check your state's age limit and please bet responsibly. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. You want to watch all the shows on the Max Wagers Network. Let's see. All right. There's going to be something to talk about. Let's see what we got. Saturday, we got 4 matches in not very good ones. A couple of matches in Serie A. Bundesliga. I am not. Hope you had a good trip to the UK. Awful performance. Awful performance yesterday for Manchester United and the referee. It was the worst penalty call I've ever seen. I do not recognize that game. But I don't even know, man. We've killed it the last 3 days. Every bet I put in basically yesterday won. I had Braga and Arsenal that won. I had the Bills. I had Steph Diggs, Cooper Kupp to score. Bills over 20 and Josh Allen over 2.9. That paid like plus 500. That was a pretty big hit there. Did you bet that game last night?
Yeah, I was on the Bills earlier in the week, and then I let the public money scare me off of it, and should have just stuck with what I thought originally, because the Bills destroyed the Rams in that game.
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. It's very. I thought that before the season, but I mean, that was crazy. The Rams were never in the game.
No, not at all.
10 at halftime, and then they just second half adjustments. The Bills are just really, really good.
They weren't even in the game when it was 10-10.
Yeah, turnover. A couple Bills had to turn the ball over a couple times. Really, that could have been 31-0, 38-0 easily, 38-3. Just didn't, it was just a bad game.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, you see Josh Allen throws 2 interceptions, but they weren't even interceptions. It was more so his receiver caught the ball and the Rams defensive back just ripped it out of his hands.
Yeah, exactly. Foxy said he called Permanente to make Libertadores final and Independiente del Valle to make Sudamericana. I didn't see those scores yesterday. Let me see what happened there. Sao Paulo goes through. So we're going to have Sao Paulo against Independiente del Valle in the final, and the 2 Brazilian teams in the other final. Yeah, I think Foxy and Plus Money here, both of you had a lot of these plays early. And basically before the round of 16 started. You kind of could see this thing mapped out pretty well. But those finals, I think, should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I definitely think Atletico PR is a bit of a shock for me. I did think they had a really good team, but I didn't think they would make it this far in the Copa Libertadores. But I still think they're going to get crushed by Flamengo.
Yeah, I didn't. What was this? What was that score Wednesday night?
Flamengo ended up winning 2-1. They actually scored a third goal like right at the end of the game, but they took it away. But still, that was it's like a slaughter.
Yeah, 6-1 on aggregate. Wow. Yeah, there's so the big news is all the games are canceled in England for Saturday, and who knows about next weekend because of the fact that the funeral could be Monday, so they might not play. They might play. They were told they could play, but they didn't. So it is what it is. It's a huge weekend, obviously, college football, NFL, and there's always the games all over Europe as well. Not very. Some of them aren't very good, but I don't know if you kind of any Serie A or Bundesliga. Are you looking at? I don't even want to look at Bundesliga, to be honest with you anymore.
I haven't looked at it in 2 weeks, man.
I can't trust any of these teams.
After the first week, I think I cashed my first Bundesliga play, and then I went like 0-5 after that, and I was like, I'm not touching these guys anymore. This league is ridiculous.
Well, it's not even. The problem is, look at these results. On Wednesday, Leverkusen lost to Bruges. Bayern won. Obviously,
you called that. I called Napoli. You called Bruges.
Yeah,
huge upsets.
I can't trust. I can't trust these teams. And then you look. On Thursday. I loved Braga, man. That was a great.
I loved them, and I stayed off because I wasn't sure, and I was kicking myself. I stayed off Lazio too, and they just came out and destroyed. So I just I stayed off the Bills yesterday because I got scared off. I just this week was like last 2 days.
Public. That's the thing here. I had Braga straight, and then I also put him in a parlay with Arsenal just to bump it up a little bit. I thought Arsenal was kind of the biggest. They should have. I thought they should have won a little easier than they did, but they did win.
They dominated, man. They had almost 80% possession. Yeah. They didn't even let the other team touch the ball. I don't know how Serge scored that penalty, but should have never happened.
West Ham. I had West Ham.
I had Betis -1.5. That was a nice one.
Yeah, Betis. We talked about that as well. But these German teams, even in Europe, haven't been doing very well. I don't even know if there's 5 in the Champions League. I think they were 2 and 3.
I think Freiburg won, but they might be like them and Bayern might be the 2 best teams in the German league this year.
Yeah, that's amazing that Freiburg is that. I will say this: the good thing about some of the Germany is, you do get teams like Freiburg or Union Berlin or obviously RB Leipzig spent so much money, but they came out of nowhere.
Then they lose 4-1 at home.
Yeah, and the coach got fired. And then a lot of coaches got fired this week for their stuff, but. So we'll look at some of these games this week, and maybe a couple NFL games. Obviously, we talk so heavily about the English leagues here, so I'm gonna have to fill a little time. Let's see where League One is. League One. I know PSG plays early, but it's. They're minus 1430. So it's almost like the -3 is even money. So really -2.75 is -130. It's just like I don't know how you bet this game.
Yeah, I will say
they just played in Europe. They should beat this team, but they just played and they're playing again. So I don't know. They get up 2-0. They might just take the foot off the pedal. And then Marseille is playing Lille. I thought Marseille played really well the other day against Tottenham until the last 15 minutes. That game basically kind of went to plan, like we had said. And then they just gave up 2 late goals. But Marseille was giving Tottenham all kinds of issues.
Yeah, man, that defense is really good. Yeah, with the PSG game, I try to stay away from games like that because like anything over minus 1,000 is just ridiculous. Personally, I don't like anything like over minus 500. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I really don't want to look at it because I don't like taking teams. I'll take a team minus 1.5, but I don't like to go any more than that. So like when you start getting into the 2.5, and look at this PSG over 2.5 is minus 500. So
Yeah, yeah. You can't.
telling me there's gonna be like 5-6 goals in this game, and you're right. Is PSG gonna come motivated to play against a bad team when they're at home? Like they could go up 3-0 in the first half and then just sit on defense in the second.
Yeah, I just, because they do, PSG has to forget who they're playing.
Yeah, they have I guess another match this midweek. I think what they're doing one this week and then they get a break the week after.
Yeah, then they're with the international break.
It's an international. I didn't even
They come
see
back
that.
and they come back and they do 2 games. So
Like, why have an international break? I get like there's other competitions like the Nations League and stuff going on, but when you have the World Cup coming up in like 2 months and you're gonna take a whole month off that, like I don't know. Why have an international break now, right? You're already
PSG has to travel PSG has a long trip to Israel on
they're playing Haifa.
Wednesday. So yeah, maybe they kind of back off a little bit. I don't like that game, to be honest. There's just when you're betting when you're betting a team over 3.5 goals at minus money, it's like, it's almost like diminishing returns at that point. Because if they do, if they just take, they could win that game 2-0 with 95% possession and never be troubled.
That's what I mean, right? You score 2 goals in the first 20 minutes, and then they could defend against a team like that, absolutely. And then they just not even worried. They defended their lead against Juventus for most of the game. They scored 2 goals there and kind of just sat back in the second half. They still had their chances, but they should have crushed Juventus with the amount of shots they had taken and the possession they had in that one. Like 2-1 is not impressive.
Yeah. And just trying to look some of these games here. Benfica minus 265. Once again, they're in the middle of Champions League games. They're on the road here. I mean,
I don't even know how to pronounce it. I have a Portuguese friend who told me.
Wow.
Yeah, like he told me they always come to play the teams like Porto and Benfica, and they're at home for that one. They'll get up for that for sure. So that's one I would probably stay away from.
Yeah,
tricky team.
Yeah, it's amazing how how dependent I am on Premier League and some of the lower leagues, but really just the Premier League now. And with it taken away, and you're just kind of scrambling to find some games here. I don't know.
It's funny because I told my mom that news about the Queen yesterday, and she goes, "Oh, England's shutting down for the next 2-3 weeks for sure." And sure enough, here we are. Everything's getting canceled.
It's crazy because like the rugby's playing and the cricket's playing, but not the FA. They said because the FA is run by the Queen, or run by Prince William or whatever it is. So maybe that's why.
I see.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds dodgy to me. There's a couple games in Italy on Saturday, a few on Sunday. Atalanta off to a great start here.
Yeah, man, they're killing it. They've actually, I was surprised because I thought they lost some key pieces in that midfield, especially after the season they had last year. But they've really kind of reinvented themselves here.
I think the key is here. You see where they finished last year, 8th. They're not in Europe, so they don't have to stretch themselves thin here with all these extra games. So, they can really just focus on the league here. And, for other teams, that could be interesting. I would say probably Atalanta has a pretty good season this year, and that's probably bad. I don't know if Udinese is going to stay up in the top four. I highly doubt it because you got Rome and Inter and all these other teams. But this Atalanta team, I think, has a chance to play well this year, and they're playing Cremonense, 19th.
I think they just came up from Serie B last year.
Yeah.
The year before, but yeah, they're a team that like they're not in the city often. It's not often you see them there, and I totally agree. This Atalanta team, the way they've come out, they're a top 6 team in Italy for sure by the end of the year, and I think a big part of that is, as you said, they don't have to focus on the European matches. They're just fully focused on the league. They're not playing in anything, and their sole focus is, we've been in Champions League the last few years. Let's get back there. We can focus on one match a week. It's really not that hard.
Yep. Foxy's saying he hopes there's no Premier League games for the next 2 or 3 weeks, so Alan St. Maximin, Bruno Guimaraes, and Wilson can recover from their injuries, and it gives league time to fix the corrupt VAR decisions that cost us points every game. Foxy, you guys have been screwed by the man as it is. I don't know why they don't like you, but man, it costs you points every game. Crazy.
I know. Every time I'm watching, I feel like every time I see everything suspend, I feel like I'm watching. I feel like I know there's reviewing a penalty, but every time it's for a team I need, they're taking it away after they've called it. Every time it's a team I need the penalty, they're or the other way around, vice versa as well. But yeah, like, man, it's ridiculous. I wonder, Foxy, did you see that Aston Villa goal, the second goal they scored on Man City, which would have won them the match, which they called offside? They blew it dead early, and it was not even offside. Ridiculous. They do need to fix their
it's been pretty bad. And once again, Europe yesterday, I mean, the penalty against Manchester United, I mean, it hit his leg. It hit his leg and bounced. He's not looking. It came off his leg, and in England it's not a penalty. So I don't know how they say in Europe it is. I guess because the guy called it, but that guy's been involved in some interesting things, but it's just VAR is. They got to fix this thing, make it. I think they got to start. They got to start making some more of this stuff black and white. I like this thing they did with the offsides, where they made a little bit of now if it's touching, it's onside. As long as there's a gap, there's no offside. Maybe they can make it so if it's a yard or something like that. But then they'll be complaining if it's a yard and a half. So it is what it is. I do like Atalanta here, -1.5 in this game. Especially, only allowed 2 goals in 5 games. So, and this Cremonense team doesn't score a lot. So, probably take a chance there. I don't know about Inter. I don't think they played poorly in the midweek, but I don't know if they can score enough goals this year.
They're just they're not a bad team. I still because I thought they were gonna win the Serie A title. Watching them play now, I don't think that's gonna happen. I still think AC Milan is probably better, but Inter Milan is a team where they didn't play bad against Bayern. They're just not good enough. That's what their problem is. They're not good enough to compete with the best of the best.
Yes, I agree with that. They're almost like a level below.
Yeah, I would put there's the top tier is obviously, your Reals, your Man City, PSG. I wouldn't even put Bayern in that group. I think Bayern's probably a second tier, like Liverpool and a few others like that. And then there's the third tier, which is really, these are teams that look like maybe they could do something, but Inter Milan is just a great example of that. They're not a team. They look like they belong in Champions League. They're a team that's going to do well. They're going to be a top 4 team in their league, but they can't compete with the Reals or even probably the Liverpools and the Bayerns. So they're one that, they're probably going to fizzle out of Champions League for sure.
Have you looked at any of the MLS games this weekend?
The MLS, I
I
really
have basically.
stopped looking at the MLS.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I just wanted to find out if you had. Yeah, look, every game is set. One game Friday, every game Saturday. Except that at least they're playing, 1 o'clock, 3:30, 6 o'clock. They're playing in different windows, so I will take it. At least it's whatever. And then they're playing Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's pretty, at least they're playing some different windows here.
I still look at Brazil, but it's more so because I got a better feel on the league. Like with this MLS, you're getting teams that are, first place in the league, getting huge road dogs because it's just such a different league.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We talk about it on the ESPN show, and I just always tell the guy, I'm like, listen, man, I know it's because we're in the New York market and we talk about them, but man, there's 20 other games better than these to pick, but it's what it is. You like anything in Brazil on Saturday or Sunday?
Let's see. I've been more focused on the football this week, so I haven't had a chance.
Which one, college or pros?
Both, man, both.
Let's look at.
I'm all over the football. I haven't looked at a lot of soccer. I'm actually kind of happy they canceled the Premier League games because I'm going to be looking at all the games later tonight.
So, you got anything on today for the football? 2 games.
I wanted to take Boise State -17, but my issue with it, I still think they're going to cover the spread. They actually have a great record. They're 11-3 against the spread when coming off a 17-point loss or more. So when they get blown out, they definitely come to play. I thought Oregon State was just a better team. Like I don't think they lost. They didn't play well in that game, but I don't think they are as bad as they played in that game. I also think they just got outplayed by a much better team in Oregon State. Boise State, though, what bothers me is their offense didn't get moving until they put their backup QB in. And I think his name is Traylon Green. But yeah, like if you look, he led the team in rushing that game. He had over 100 rushing yards, and he also got the passing game moving. If they put Hank Backmeyer back in here to start, which I'm pretty sure they're doing, I don't know how good I feel about Boise State. I still think they can probably get it done. But I don't know. There's always a chance, like he plays the way he did against Oregon State. It's really the interceptions. He's got to stay away from that. But the Boise State defense, they still played pretty decently against Oregon State. They came away with 2 interceptions in that one. So if I had to take a play on that one, I was very close to making it a premium play. I stayed off, but I'm going with Boise State -17 for that.
All right. I'm posting a couple here for Chris Lyons in the thing. I do like Atlanta tomorrow at -1.5 in Serie A. I like USC. I would bet it to 7. I wouldn't leave it at 8.
I like that play. I think
they have problems with Stanford, but I just think this USC team is trying to stamp its authority. Now they saw Utah lose, and I think they said, you know what? If we beat Stanford here, we have a really good shot to do some things. So they have problems with them. I just think it's going to be I think they win pretty easily. That's just my opinion. And I like Alabama -20.
Yeah, Alabama looked good in that first game they played.
Yeah, they're going to score a lot of points, and they're not going to give up a lot of points. I think Texas is in a little bit of trouble. There's some interesting games Sunday for the NFL. Or do you want to look? You have any plays Saturday for college?
For Saturday, I was looking at what was it? I did kind of like Wisconsin -17.5
against Washington State.
Yeah, so that's one where I know a lot of people are on Washington State, but I really don't think they're that great of a team this year. They haven't had a good team for a while. They don't really have a great program either. But Wisconsin, man, even though they played an FCS team last week, and Their defense crushed them. They didn't allow a single point, and they are going to have a solid defense. I can't see Washington State scoring a lot of points on them. Like, I really think it's going to be hard for them to move the ball against Wisconsin's defense. Also, I think Graham Mertz, obviously, he's been the quarterback now for a while. I think he's going to get a little bit better this year. He moved the ball well last week. I expect Graham Mertz to put up points on Washington State. I don't see this being like, obviously, Wisconsin's not the kind of team that's going to score 40 plus points, but I think their defense is going to play well enough for them to cover that spread because they're probably going to score somewhere in the 30 range. And I don't see like Washington State getting more than 10 points in that game.
So all right, Boise's what, minus 17, right?
Yeah.
Boise Friday night. Abdi's on. What's up, Abdi, by the way? Chris, hey, listen, I'm typing this out. I don't know if you were with us earlier in the week. It's a big soccer show, but obviously there's no English football at all this weekend because the Queen died. So, we're going to talk a little bit of different stuff. And Fridays, I do want to talk a little bit of football and other football. But, if you're with us this week, I don't know if you see that. We hit, big parlays on Tuesday, big parlays on Wednesday. We told you to take Barcelona over 3.5, over 4.5, over 5.5. 3 and 4 hit. 4 was for, what was it? Plus 250 about. So, just typing that in for you there, Abdi. I like USC -7. I know it's -8. I'll bump it down. I'm not leaving it -8. It's the same thing with Wisconsin. At -16.5. Same thing with Boise. Like if you can get them at 16.5, bump it down maybe and pay like -120. I always think that's a little bit better than just laying it on that number because sometimes it does come down to that half a point. So, with Bama at -20, it's under that 21 number. I always will like that a little bit better. Pros, I think, is a little tougher to do that, but, I think those games are closer. Yesterday, we killed it in Europa League. We had Braga at +125. I could hit a bunch of parlays. Had the Bills last night. I said earlier, I hit a +500 parlay on some boost. All these, here's the thing too. I think because the sites are, the football starts. So NFL, all these sites are giving away stuff and doing these promotions. And last night, I think it was DraftKings had, if your team goes up by 7 points, you win the bet, pay out. It pays out immediately. I was on the Bills. I just thought the Bills were I thought the Bills were going to win the game. I didn't know it was going to be 31-10. But I thought they would win the game. So I took that. Put 100 on the Bills and the early payout. And 3 minutes into the game, they paid my bet out because it was 7-0. So if you took the Rams on that, you lost, obviously, because it was only tied 10-10 at halftime. But there's all these bet boosts and all different stuff that these sites are offering. So if you can find some of this stuff, especially on the NFL, college, NFL, the other thing is too, there's a million games on Saturday. Now there's soccer, there's basketball, there's football. Try to find 1 or 2 games, and target those. I'm not trying to find 5, 6, 7, 8 games. Try to find, it doesn't matter what time the games are. I know some people kind of look at these with the windows and say, I want to bet an early game. College basketball, I think it may be more too. NFL, I'm going to bet an early game. Then I'm going to bet a later game. Then I'm going to bet the night game. I'm just trying to find 2, 3, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3 games. I don't care what time they are. I'm just looking for the best value. And sometimes I'll put them in a parlay. Like if you don't, I think for some of this stuff, maybe you don't like the spread in the USC game. All right, well, I'll take the money line here at minus 360. And then you can say, maybe I like Oklahoma State at minus 11.5. I actually don't like that game. If I was going to take that game, I'd take Arizona State with the points, but, just to make a point. Let's see, Florida here. Say you like Florida, minus 225. Your parlay's at minus 118 now. So basically it's manageable. If you throw Texas State in there, I don't even know. Now it's plus 119. So, you could do that. I think you do that too with these games with the NFL, right? Instead of maybe taking the point spread, you just find 3 money line favorites and look for those.
Yeah, definitely. I will do that because sometimes these college spreads can be tricky, man. Like look at Alabama last week, minus 42, and they still covered the spread. So yeah, definitely. It's always good to go with a money line parlay, but stick to the spreads if you want to just do a single bet. Another play I love, I think Ball State's probably going to upset Western Michigan at home. They're a 6.5 point underdog, but I think Ball State's. I think Western Michigan's going to be off a little bit of a. There's going to be a little bit of a letdown after that big game against Michigan State. Obviously, state rival team. That's the big brother school in the state, along with Michigan. So anytime you play a team like that, you're going to come to play. And with this being the first conference game, I think Ball State's a lot better than the way they got destroyed last week by a very good Tennessee team. So I think Ball State's in this first conference game is going to come to play at home. I see them upsetting outright with the 7 points. So I would take the 6.5, but that there's always upsets happen all the time in these college games. So if you want to take a shot on the money line, go right ahead. You just got to pick your spots and obviously never go heavy when you're going to pick an upset like that.
Yeah, and Abdi's talking about he likes Iowa State to beat Iowa and a little bit of an upset there. Plus 140. The fighting Cyclones there, Brocktober. But yeah, I think there is some games here where you can kind of look. The one game Notre Dame I thought played pretty well. All defensively last week.
Yeah, and I think it helps that they hired their defensive coordinator as the head coach. I guess after Brian Kelly left last year, he kind of took the team over, and those kids really played for him. So that's a team I definitely think is going to have a good defense for sure this year.
Just typing up these Thursday, 9 to 10 a.m. Friday. Banners. Just gonna make sure. So we got some of the people. Abdi, I know Bill was in here. So Abdi, we got the new hours now. We're 11 to 12 every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, because we tape, which actually may change now because there's some issues here. So maybe it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 to 12. But it is what it is. You can always, and listen, if you missed the show, once again, if you have questions, text me or send us a message on Twitter or whatever. You can always watch the show anytime. So, just go back in and look. So, and then you got NFL Sunday. The first game right here on the list, I see the Ravens went back under 6.5. I don't understand this line. The Browns and Panthers line's moving all over the place. That was minus 1.5, minus 2. Now it's a pick. Colts at 7. Any of these games stick out to you?
Well, I think part of that line movement, I guess, is because it's slowly, even though it's really is official, it's slowly becoming official that Joe Flacco is starting in that game. And I guess people like the Jets, I guess they think the offense is going to run better under Joe Flacco. And obviously you got the revenge game aspect. That one I would stay off because it worries me like Lamar Jackson set a deadline for his contract today. So what happens if Baltimore doesn't give him the contract that he wants? Is he going to sit out? Is he actually going to start this game? I really don't know what, especially like, and if he plays, like what's going on in his head right now. That's not one I really want to touch. That Cleveland line I find interesting because Cleveland opened, I think, as a 2-point favorite, and then it got to basically 2 points for Carolina earlier in the week, and now it's right back at a pick 'em. That's another one I would stay off of. Personally, I'm a big Baker Mayfield believer. I'm rooting for the Panthers to do well. I'm rooting for him to do well this year. But, the Panthers have one of the worst offensive lines last year. The thing is, their offensive line is going to be a lot better this year. They have 4 brand new guys out of the 5. So basically only one of the guys who started last year are going to be on that offensive line this year. But also, there's a chemistry aspect there when playing on the line. These guys haven't really had a lot of time playing together. So it'll be interesting to see. I think a big key in that game is, can Carolina protect Baker? If they can, I think that the quarterback play is just better and Carolina can win that game. Baker will make the plays, but if they're going to let the defensive line for Cleveland just get all over him, there's no way that the Panthers come out of there with a win.
So I like the Ravens this year. I think he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder, and I also think that team. If you remember last year, they were the top seed, and then it just the wheels fell. Everybody got injured at the same time.
It was more COVID-19, right? Like it wasn't even injuries.
And then it was all like it just everything. COVID, injuries, and it was just like I've never seen. And they still should have made the playoffs if they didn't keep going for 2. I like a parlay Baltimore, Indianapolis, Tennessee. I don't understand this Tennessee line, to be honest.
I don't either.
I keep thinking I'm missing something. They're at home against the Giants, who stink.
So people are thinking the Giants are going to be good. I've actually seen a lot of handicappers have the Giants as a wild card team this year. I don't buy it. They're
playing for the top. They're playing for the first pick. They have a better chance of getting the first pick in the draft than they do making the playoffs.
Look, I think,
especially in that division.
Yeah, no, I know. I agree. I think the hype around the Giants is all crazy. About Brian Dable coming over from the Bills, and you got Joe Shane. It's like, these guys said they scouted Josh Allen. We're going to be so great. But I don't think people realize that Dable and Shane, they don't want Daniel Jones there. That is a Gettleman mistake, and they're not going to like they're being forced by John Mara to play Daniel Jones this year. They want him out of there. They want to pick their own guy so they can develop. They already tried to trade for Russell Wilson. They tried to scout. The Giants are not going to be a good team this year. Like they want
Daniel Jones. They want Bryce
Daniel
Young.
Jones is going to get benched after 4 games, and they're going to let Tyrod Taylor finish out the season because that's a guy that they knew in Buffalo. They like the way he plays. They're going to let him try, so it makes it look like they're trying to still win because the fan base is crazy over there in New York. But Daniel Jones is out of there, man. Until they get rid of him, this is going to be a rebuild next year. They've already stripped down the roster. They don't like what they see, what they have in wide receivers. And I think people just don't believe in Tannehill. But I look at it like Tannehill's been getting the job done. You can say what you want about him. And I know he's great, but they got Derrick Henry over there to run the ball, who's a beast. And so the running game is always going to be good. The defense lost nobody. This defense is going to be just as good as it was last year.
They're the top seed last year in the AFC, which is loaded, and Derrick Henry didn't play for 2 months.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't get it. Like, I just think as soon as these lines came out, the first 2 games I looked at were the Ravens. I said, man, the Ravens and that one, the Giants and the Titans. I think this game, like 5.5, man, it's crazy. I mean, you could almost – no, I think the same thing with the Colts. Like, if you want to do like an even better, like I think the Colts, because the Texans are terrible.
The Texans have nobody. Like if you want to talk about a talent perspective, they are the least talented team in the NFL by far. Like they have, what is their star wide receiver? The aging Brandon Cooks, and he's got no quarterback to throw him the ball. They haven't had a run game for years. They traded for David Johnson a few years ago after he coming off basically like an injury that destroyed his career. I should know, I'm a Cardinals fan. So like, I know a lot about David Johnson and the team he came from. Like, it's just a mess in Houston.
Like if you do a spread, I don't even like doing spread picks, but like a spread pick on the Titans -5.5, the Colts -7. I think you could even, let me see that. You could even like, where is that game?
That was -8. Keep in mind that was -8 early in the week. That's actually that came down to -7. I don't know.
I'll put it down to -6.5, or actually probably -6, because sometimes you got to remember sometimes. So that pays +342 right there. Remember, the extra point is not a given anymore. So if you're trying to bet it down, I would cover yourself, take it down to -6 or even -5.5 sometimes. But I mean, Titans point spread, Ravens money line, Colts -6 pays 342. I mean, I don't know. I don't see it, but I just don't see sometimes what other people are saying.
And the thing with the Colts, you got to remember, is that was a playoff team last year. They didn't make the playoffs, but if Carson Wentz doesn't lose 27-10, not even the Colts, if Carson Wentz doesn't lose 27-10 to the Jaguars in that last game of the season, they're 10-7. They're in the playoffs. They don't have to go to this mathematical where the Eagles got in at 9-8 and they didn't. So this is a playoff team. Now they got Matt Ryan at quarterback. Like, say what you want about Matt Ryan. He's aging. He's not good, whatever. He puts up the numbers year after year. This guy's got over 3,000 passing yards, and he's a veteran quarterback that's been in the league for time. If you don't think he's going to make this offense better, then think again. He's going to make this offense better than Carson Wentz was running it last year.
The other thing too is, I love the Eagles in this game. I think they're going to be really good. I think the Saints are going to be pretty good this year. I think they're going to surprise some people. The Falcons are really bad.
I think the Falcons are going to surprise some people.
Yeah, you think they're going to be good?
Yeah, the Saints. Here. For me, the Saints, they don't have good pieces. I don't believe in Jameis Winston. This guy just found out he needed glasses last year. Like, no wonder you were throwing all these interceptions. You couldn't see the receiver you were throwing to. Michael Thomas has been injured for so long. I know they got a lot of young talent there, but besides Kamara, that's their whole running game. And I just think the Saints were always a good team because of Sean Payton. Now you're taking that away. It's a new coach. It's a new system. I don't think they're going to be the good team people think they're going to be this year.
One of the games, one of the rules is Super Bowl winners always win on that game. They got blown out last night, and the Super Bowl losers always lose. So when that game happened, I was like, you know what? I like the Bengals. I don't think the Steelers. Who's playing? Mitch Trubisky's playing quarterback.
Trubisky.
I think the Bengals are going to kind of win that game easily. I don't know anything. The 49ers, Bears, who knows about that game? You don't know what the quarterbacks are going to do. I wouldn't touch that. I wouldn't touch the Packers and Vikings game. I think the Packers are better, but I don't know. People are saying I'm nuts for saying that, but I don't know. Your Cardinals, I don't know. That game is interesting to me because they started pretty well last year. And, I think that's a lot of points to give away at home or to give up. I just don't know if -6 for the Chiefs in Arizona. I don't know about that line. It seems like pretty high to me.
Yeah, and that was another one. That was 4.5 at the beginning of the week. So, they're personally, I don't like the Cardinals. They're my favorite team, but I don't like them. I think Kyler Murray's a bit of a joke. He's not a first in, last out kind of guy. And if you don't have that in your quarterback, then you're screwed. Because he acted like such a child, taking away the Cardinals off his Instagram stuff, and then they give him the contract, which they shouldn't have done. I don't think anyway, as a Cardinals fan. And they put in the stipulation about the film just to embarrass him like the child that he is, because he is. And then they had to take it away because, it was bringing too much bad publicity to him and all this other stuff. But do you think anybody in the locker room respects him? Absolutely not. He's got no respect in that locker room. Now, the Cardinals are going to cover the spread, but mainly because the Chiefs lost one of their biggest piece, and the Cardinals are a team where, they started 8-0 last season. Well, a lot of that is because of Cliff Kingsbury. If you go back to his record at Texas Tech, he's always started the season. His record ATS in the first half of the season was something like, in all the years he was there, something like 40-10 or something ridiculous like that. And then in the second half of the season, he's like 10-30 something. Like he is not a good in the second half, and that's why the Cardinals collapse, because they can't go the distance. So obviously,
like making adjustments and stuff like that.
Yeah. So obviously, they have one of the most talented teams by far in the NFL, just because of their wide receiving corps. I mean, maybe their defense isn't as great as it used to be, but like they definitely have a talented team and the pieces there. But I think they're not going to be a team that goes far in the long run.
What are your thoughts on the two? I don't know if you have a thought on the Chargers game, but what are your thoughts on the two primetime games, Tampa and Dallas and Denver, Seattle? I mean, I don't understand the Denver line. That line was -4.5. Now it's 6.5. It's a little bit close to where it should be. I think this Denver team is going to be very good. Seattle's going to be terrible. They're playing for the number 1 pick. I don't get it. And then Tampa and Dallas, who knows what's going on with Brady? I think, pissed off Brady is not the Brady I want to face. So that could be interesting.
I kind of lean to the Cowboys in that one, just because, they're at home. I think they played the Bucs last year, and it was a very close game between them.
It was 31-29 on opening night. It was the Thursday night game.
Yeah, so like Dallas is gonna come to play to them. Like, they're a franchise that they hear the talk every year about how they're gonna be either great or they're gonna be crap, and it's always like split 50-50 down the middle. You have the guys that are hyping them up like they're the best thing on the planet, and then you got the ones that are like, the Cowboys are garbage. They've been garbage every year. They're gonna be garbage again. And this is one that I just think, their team is a lot healthier for sure than it's been in past years. This is opening night for them. They have a very good record covering the spread in Sunday night prime time. So this is one where they're not going to just sit down. And I don't know what's going on with Brady. That's the other thing. Like, he's a year older. I get, like, I'm a big Tom Brady fan. I'm not one of these guys that hates on Tom Brady. Like, every time somebody hates on Tom Brady, I'm like, why do you hate on greatness? I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. I love the guy. But it worries me because, he's still in his 40s. And 1 year, he was still great last year, but a year makes a difference. Okay. He's another year older this year. And you took away half his training camp to go shoot the Masked Singer or whatever the hell he was doing in those 2 weeks. Some people say it was mandatory Giselle family time. Other people say he made an appearance on the Masked Singer. So who knows what he was doing in those 2 weeks. What's important, though, is he missed those 12 days of training camp, and he's not in his normal routine to start the season. I think it's going to mess him up a little bit here.
Foxy says he has no idea with this, but I'm going to bet on the Titans to win it all. I got close with the Bengals at crazy odds last year. That Henry is rapid. He very much is very fast. Now, what you can do is, you can bet on them to win the AFC, which I think you're going to get pretty good odds to do that as well. I don't even see him plus 2,000. I don't get it.
Yeah, the Colts are the favorite. Take them to win their division again.
I don't
You'll probably get good odds on them to win the AFC South if the Colts are more favored to win the Super Bowl.
Where is it? They're minus plus 190 to win the division, minus 134 for the Colts. Eagles now favorites at plus 135. Rams still the favorite there.
The Eagles have a good team.
Yeah, they're very good. If the quarterback is good, I like, this division could be interesting.
I think Jalen Hurts is going to be good this year.
He's better than if he's the same or better than if he improves with that team around him, they're legit. They have a legit chance to go to deep in the playoffs. like win the division, go deep in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
A lot of people were talking a little bit about the Commanders as well. Well, that just depends on Carson Wentz. So it is what it is. But
the Jags. The Jags are going to beat Carson, or they're going to beat the Commanders this week.
Oh, you like the Jags on the? All right, there you go.
I like the Jags for sure. That's an outright win.
Carson Wentz here, plus 108 Jaguars. Right.
Remember,
here.
This is the team Carson Wentz played terribly against in that last game of the season last year, which was a must win. They needed to win. You win and you get in the playoffs. There's no questions about it. You don't have to worry about anybody else or any of this mathematics. And he couldn't do it. Not only did they lose, they got crushed 27-10. This is pretty much the same defense. He's going to be seeing Josh Allen all day. I think he's going to have PTSD. He's not going to play well. I don't like this Commanders team. I think if anything, they're like a Man United of the NFL. You know what I mean? They need to fix their front office issues before they actually tackle the team itself.
Man, and get the Glazers out and Snyder out, right?
That's what it is. It's literally the Man United of the NFL.
Man, it's brutal. Yeah, so basically what we'll do, I think, obviously this is a little bit of a special Friday because there's no Premier League. Usually we'd be talking about the Premier League for about a half hour. So on Fridays, maybe we'll split the show up, talk a little college football, talk a little NFL. I know some of the people here bet both. Foxy, I know, is a big soccer guy down there in South America. Abdi, I forget where you are, Abdi. I know, Bill and some of these guys bet everything. So, we'll talk a little bit about everything here. But just remember the show times now from now on. For right now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday shows will be 11 to 12 or 11 to whatever time. So we're going to be able to talk the games of the day. And then Thursday, right now, is probably going to be 9 to 10, something like that. And we'll kind of talk about that. So that's our show for today. Toronto. Abdi's in Toronto. How about that?
Oh, hey, look at that. Just down the street.
Yeah, you go to Plus Money's house for dinner later today.
Yeah, I'm not exactly in Toronto. I'm in a different city.
You're outside, right?
I'm outside of Toronto. I'm in a different city. It's actually, you might know it. I'm closer to Hamilton.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, they have a CFL team. So some people know the name.
Tigers.
Yeah. But I could probably drive to that stadium. That's like 20, 30 minutes down the road for me. Toronto's more of like an hour drive.
Just because it's along the river, like you have to or not the river, the lake. It's like you got to kind of go up and around, right?
Yeah, it's basically that's what's separate. Like if you're going from Toronto to Niagara, you're basically going like that. Right around.
It's making a C shape. Yeah. Instead of just drawing a straight line.
Yeah.
Yeah, big game this weekend. Rochester against Toronto in the MLS Next Pro. Big the second and third in the MLS Next Pro. So we'll see how that works. But
man, you're gonna start asking me about the Canadian Premier League next.
Oh, how can it be the Canadian Premier League if three of the teams are in the MLS? I don't understand. Why don't they just play? Yeah, at some point, they just
North American soccer.
North American soccer, Mexico, U.S., and Canada. Put them all together. Put them in 3 divisions, 4 divisions, however you want to do it. The winners play, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Promotion to relegation would be great, but that's never happening. So, they'll figure something out. But make me in charge of the North America, and we'll get it done. But,
fix that MLS schedule up.
Well, that's at least they're spread out this weekend. When now when there's college football all day. So
now we need to compete with every
when there's nothing when it was nothing there, every game was at the same time. Now there's a million things. Yeah, we're gonna spread every game out. Oh yeah, good idea. So so we'll see you Monday. But listen, if you have any, remember Twitter, the prodigal Sean. Yours is there, I think, there, and plus money. And just hit us up on Twitter, whatever, Instagram. Mine is thing. There's just those underscores between the words. Just message. And if you have any questions, just let us know. We'll be back Monday, and we're going to talk a lot of Champions League, Europa League, and all that stuff because there's no English games, so there's nothing to talk about. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.